This week of Pokemon Go is actually going to be filled with some pretty good content. We're going to be getting ourselves a bug-themed event featuring a brand new Pokemon, as well as a research day featuring one Pokemon that I know a lot of players are going to want to go after. I'm going to be talking about all of this in today's video. Let's get right into it. Hey, how's it going everyone? Jinsula here with a brand new Pokemon Go video. I hope your day is going really well, and let's get right into it. So let's talk about everything that's going to be happening this week in Pokemon Go. We are getting a bug out event featuring a brand new bug type Pokemon, which I think a lot of players will want to get. And then we're also going to be getting a research day at the end of this week, which is going to be featuring 4 different Pokemon with a boosted shiny rate. But it's only one of those Pokemon that I think a lot of players are actually going to care about, and we'll get more into that later. But first, let's talk about the bug out event and talk about what you could look forward to. And I do think that for what it's worth, this is going to be a somewhat decent event. The bug out event is going to be happening on March 26th at 10 o'clock a.m. local time, and it's going to go until March 30th at 8 o'clock p.m. local time. This event is going to feature the introduction of Sizzlipede along with its evolved form Scorch. And getting these Pokemon is going to require you to spend raid passes. I'll get more into that later. Next, let's talk about the event bonuses for this bug out event. They're actually pretty decent. So you're going to have double the amount of experience for nice throws or better. You're going to have increased candies when you hit nice throws or better. And then you're going to get an increased chance at getting Candy XL for every nice throw or better. So this is going to be kind of like the catch mastery event where you're going to be rewarded for getting nice throws with your catches. That is definitely something you should keep in mind because this is going to be a great way for you to farm up these particular resources. Now, one thing that I suggest you do is that you line up a whole bunch of field research task rewards for Pokemon that you want to farm up candy for. That is going to be a great way for you to get a whole bunch of candy during this event. It's definitely one of the things that I typically do whenever there is a bonus like this. So yeah, make sure you go out and complete some field research tasks before this event and stack up those research rewards so that you can get yourself a whole bunch of candy. Now, there's other bonuses that are going to be active during this event. Lure modules will actually attract Sizzlipede. So, if you do not want to go the raid route, this will be a way for you to get this particular Pokemon, but it is going to require you to lure up some Pokestops, and then you're going to have to sit there. And essentially, it is still a premium form of getting this Pokemon, and I think that's kind of unfortunate. Now, you're going to have an increased chance to encounter Shiny Wurmple and Shiny Venipede during this event, and that is a pretty nice bonus. But even though both of these Pokemon are not relevant by any means, it's still a great way to pick up these shinies if you still do not have them. Now, if enough Pokemon are caught with help from a single lure module, additional Pokemon are going to be appearing at that lured Pokestop. This is actually a pretty unique bonus and I do not often see it, so I do think this is going to be a great way for you to get a whole bunch of Pokemon if you're at a particular spot with a lure module. So if you have a whole bunch of lure modules just collecting dust in your bags, then it might be time to dust them off and actually use them during this event. Next up, let's talk about the timed research and the paid timed research. So, the timed research, which is going to be available to everyone, is going to reward you with one lure module, which you can use to get yourself Sizzlipede, and then you're also going to have encounters with event-themed Pokemon, including Shedinja, Sizzlipede, Kleavor, and more. So they will be giving you a free-to-play Sizzlipede. I do think that is something you should definitely not ignore. This is definitely going to be one of the ways that most players are going to pick up this new Pokemon. And then there's also going to be a paid timed research, which is going to award you with 1 additional lure module, 2 premium battle passes, as well as additional encounters with those event-themed Pokemon. But they're also going to give you an encounter with Heracross. So that is a regional Pokemon that, if you do not have it at this point, it might be worth buying this paid timed research. Next up, let's talk about the wild encounters during this event, and considering that it is a bug-themed event, you're sure to find a whole bunch of bug Pokemon. You're going to see a whole bunch of Caterpie, Weedle, Wurmple, Nincada, Venipede, Dwebble, Joltik, Grubbin, Dewpider, Nimble, as well as Cutiefly, but Cutiefly is going to be an uncommon spawn. And then of course, Wurmple and Venipede are going to have an increased shiny chance, and pretty much all of these Pokemon can be shiny, so it could potentially be a pretty decent shiny hunt during this event. And just something you need to keep in mind is that a majority of these Pokemon are actually actually pretty decent when it comes to PvP. More specifically, Dwebble, Joltik, and Dewpider, they are actually pretty good when it comes to PvP, like within the Great League. So that is something you should also keep in mind if you're looking to get yourself a collection of PvP Pokemon. There's definitely going to be a pretty good number of options throughout this event, and you do not want to ignore that. And next up, let's talk about what's going to be spawning in raids, and this is pretty much where all the controversies lie. So in 1-star raids, you're going to get Scyther, Nincada, Sizzlipede in raid battles, and yeah, that's basically how you're going to be able to get Sizzlipede outside of the timed research, as well as the lure modules, and that's kind of unfortunate. And then in 3-star raids, you're going to be able to get Beedrill, Scizor, and Kleavor, and all three of these Pokemon are not necessarily that relevant. Maybe Scizor is because of the Mega Evolution, but aside from that, I will say that you do not need to spend any of your raid passes for any of these Pokemon. And then there's also going to be field research task rewards, Pokestop showcases, new avatar items, as well as collection challenges that are themed around this event. Make sure you're on the lookout for all that stuff. It's not necessarily something you need to care about, but it could prove to be something worthwhile. Alright, next up, let's talk about the research day that we're going to be getting at the end of this week. I will say that it is looking to be pretty good. Although, it's only going to be one of the Pokemon out of the 4 that they're going to be featuring that I feel like a lot of players are actually going to care about. But regardless of that, I still think it's going to be a lot of fun. I tend to enjoy research days more than other types of events, and it's actually something that I do think is a bit underrated. But yeah, let's go over the details for this research day. I do think it's going to be pretty good. The Fuzzy Buddy Research Day is going to be happening on March 29 from 2 o'clock p.m. to 5 o'clock p.m. local time. It's going to be featuring 4 different Pokemon, which is going to be Teddiursa, Cubchoo, Pancham, and Stufful, and every single one of them are going to have an increased shiny chance when you get them from field research task rewards. Now, aside from these 4 Pokemon, we're also going to be seeing the following wild encounters. You're going to be seeing Sentret, Slackoth, Bidoof, Minccino, as well as Bunnelby in the wild, and every single one of those are also going to have an increased shiny chance. Something you do need to keep in mind is that this is not going to be the same shiny rate as Community Days, so don't expect to come out with a whole bunch of shinies for any of these Pokemon. It's going to be quite rare still. It's probably going to be at a rate of about 1 in 60 encounters, so make sure you keep your expectations in check. This is not going to be a massive shiny hunt to the level of Community Days. Now, during this event, there's also going to be a paid timed research, and it's going to include encounters for the 4 featured Pokemon. So if you do not have a whole bunch of Pokestops around you, this is essentially going to be your paid method for getting any of these shinies. It's unfortunate that they're not including it for free, because in the past that's what they did, but at the very least, this option is going to be available to you. Alright, next let's talk about PvP. So going until this Tuesday, March 25th, we're going to have the continuation of the Open Master League along with the Scroll Cup Great League Edition. And then afterwards, we're going to have all 3 of the basic leagues opened up, and that's going to be a great opportunity for you to get some extra points. And then on top of that, pretty much every single one of the leagues during this week is going to award you with bonus Stardust when you get wins. So that is something you should definitely keep in mind. It's going to be a great way for you to pick up some extra Stardust every single day. Next up, let's talk about this Tuesday Spotlight Hour, which is going to be happening from 6 o'clock p.m. to 7 o'clock p.m. local time. It's going to be featuring the Pokemon Cutiefly with a 2x experience bonus for catching Pokemon. So if you still need to level up your trainer, then this is going to be a great opportunity for you to get yourself a lot of experience. Next up, let's talk about the raiding content. So during this week, we're going to have Heatran in 5-star legendary raids, and that also means that for this Wednesday's raid hour, it's going to be featuring this Pokemon from 6 o'clock p.m. to 7 o'clock p.m. local time. And then in terms of Mega Evolution raids, we're going to have Mega Pinsir, and that is actually a pretty decent Pokemon when it comes to bug type raid damage. So if you need to get yourself Mega Energy for Mega Pinsir, then make sure you do a couple of Mega raids during this week. And then finally on the weekends, we're going to have Shadow Regice continue to be in 5-star Shadow Legendary raids. Make sure you get a bunch of people together and raid for this Pokemon if you still do not have one. It's a pretty decent Pokemon to have. And then finally, let's talk about the Dynamax content. So for this week's Max Monday, which is happening tonight from 6 o'clock p.m. to 7 o'clock p.m. local time, we're going to have one featuring the Pokemon Caterpie. So if you want yourself a good bug type Dynamax Pokemon, then this is definitely one you will want to go after. So yeah, this is everything that's going to be happening this week in Pokemon Go, and I am looking forward to it. We are going to be getting that bug out event featuring a new Pokemon, and the research day is going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for this video. Let me know your thoughts regarding everything that I talked about down below. Is there anything in particular this week that you are looking forward to? Or do you feel like this is going to be a down week and you just simply do not care about everything that's coming? Definitely share your reasons for thinking that down below in the comments, and let's have a great discussion. And thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed it and found it to be informative. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here. And also don't forget the notification bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. Real quick, let me give a shout out to all of my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support the Count Jinsula channel, the best way you could do that is going to be by joining my Patreon. And if you decide to become a paid Patreon member, I'm going to add you to my Pokemon Go friends list. So that means for stuff like remote raids, opening and sending gifts, different things like that. If you want to play Pokemon Go with me, then make sure you go and check out my Patreon. And if you want to support my channel in a completely different way, you're always welcome to do that by joining my social media pages. If you go to any of the different platforms that you see on the bottom of your screen and look up Count Jinsula, you'll be able to find me, and make sure you follow me so that you can stay up to date on what's going on in my daily life. And that's going to be it for this video. I'm Count Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, and love yourself, and I'll catch you all later.
진솔아와 함께해 Pokémon Go 다 같이 와